using the cell phones of other people and other inmates. This was his plan. All of this was found in his cell, that he wanted to sit there and find dirt on people and intimidate and come for these witnesses.
Y'all won't believe what's happening with music mogul Diddy. Just when we thought his legal troubles couldn't get any worse, honey, they did. The tables have completely turned, and now he's dealing with something even more shocking behind bars.
It's tragic, but he better be watching his ass literally in prison, because those type of stories,
He probably doesn't want to.
he probably doesn't want to.
Word on the street is that the conditions in there are absolutely horrific. And get this, with his existing health issues, poor thing didn't stand a chance against whatever nasty infection is spreading around in there. I mean, can you imagine?
His life, his safety is in jeopardy in any correctional lockup right now. If it is true, as reported, that he is housed in the special housing unit, it's important to note that the special housing unit is a lockdown, 24-hour lockdown unit.
The authorities are being super hush-hush about everything, but let me tell you, darling, the whispers coming from inside, they're absolutely terrifying. Could this finally be the wake-up call our dear Diddy never saw coming? I mean, seriously.
He's allegedly refusing to leave his jail cell at the moment to avoid SA lawsuit.
Honey, let me break it down for you. His fancy connections, useless. His reputation, in shambles. And now he's facing the cold, hard reality of jail life. Everyone's literally on the edge of their seats waiting to see how this absolutely shocking twist plays out in Diddy's dramatic downfall. And darlings, let me tell you about where our fallen star has landed, the MDC Detention Center in New York. Talk about a culture shock. From living the life of luxury to this. It's worlds apart from his champagne-popping, yacht-hopping lifestyle. And trust me, spending the holidays there, not exactly a five-star experience.
The MDC is, I've used the word austere a lot, but it is. It's austere, it's strict, it's impersonal, it's cold. And it is a very tough place to be detained.
Remember when we used to see Diddy dripping in diamonds, throwing those absolutely fabulous parties? Well, honey, those days are long gone. The MDC, it's notorious, and not in a glamorous way. Prison expert Larry Levine spilled the tea about their so-called holiday sack. And let me tell you, it's tragic. It's plastic and it's almost like a big pillow. But over the years, it has shrunk. It's a bunch of crap that probably was purchased because it was out of date, because the prison system sells you out of stuff and they're trying to act like they're doing the inmates a favor. No caviar here, sweeties, just stale commissary items.
He will be locked in the cell 23 hours a day with 1 hour recreation in a fenced-in area where I would certainly expect for him to be recreating alone.
Now, here's where it gets really juicy. Word is, Diddy's been skipping meals. Can you believe it? But wait till you hear why. An insider dropped this bombshell. He gets a lot of people in trouble. People want to eliminate him. So what if somebody on the outside knew someone that had a relative that worked in the prison and they put something in his food a little bit at a time, then he gets contaminated, whatever it is, and it's early checkout for Mr. Puff Daddy. They eliminate him. That's another reason, another theory as to why he wasn't eating. He was afraid the food was contaminated. Darlings, the whispers about his health are absolutely wild. Sources say he's battling something serious, and the facility, let's just say it's not exactly equipped with the kind of medical care our mogul is used to. Have you seen how shockingly thin he looked at his last court appearance? Is it the stress, the food, the mysterious illness, or all of the above? And honey, let me tell you about his holiday meltdown. It was epic. Poor thing just couldn't handle being stuck there months after his arrest. An insider spilled that he completely lost it. With his high-powered legal team, Diddy thought he'd be out on bail by now. Spending the holidays behind bars was a nightmare for him. He eventually managed to calm himself down with the meditation technique he's been using while he's been behind bars. It took him a few hours of deep breathing and focusing to get out of the bad space he was in, but he finally managed it.
He's refusing to leave his cell after he hears, for the first time in life, N.O., jailhouse guards saying no to his demands.
But wait, there's more. Just when you thought things couldn't get any messier, along comes this bombshell lawsuit from Michigan inmate Derek Lee Cardello Smith. And guess who's being dragged into this $400 million drama? None other than Jennifer Lopez herself. Smith's story is absolutely shocking. Claims he met Diddy while bartending at a Detroit hotel back in '97. According to him, Diddy invited him to a private party, gave him a spiked drink, and, well, what happened next is absolutely chilling. Smith says he woke up to find Diddy in a compromising situation with a woman, only to hear those bone-chilling words, "I did this to you too."
You filed a motion for a temporary restraining order and/or a preliminary injunction to stop all sales of the property and assets attached to or involved with said property.
Now here's where it gets even juicier. Smith claims J-Lo knew about everything. According to him, Diddy kept her quiet by threatening both her career and safety. Though Jennifer's never been tied to any criminal activity, her name popping up in these court documents has everyone looking at their past relationship in a whole new light.
The government said that they interviewed over 50 witnesses and victims. But there is one name on that celebrity list that is standing out in particular right now. Jennifer Lopez.
J-Lo's team is keeping totally mum about all this, and no one knows if she'll have to testify. Remember that infamous 1999 nightclub shooting? Even though she was cleared, that drama's coming back to haunt her. Of course, Diddy's lawyers are fighting back hard, calling Smith a serial fabricator who's just making up wild stories for attention. They're pushing to get the case thrown out, saying, this is a frivolous lawsuit against a prominent businessman based on obvious fabrications filed by a convicted rapist and serial litigant with an overactive imagination and a thirst for fame. And darlings, wait till you hear about these freak-off tapes. Diddy's team is desperately trying to use them to clear his name. While prosecutors say these parties were fronts for something sinister, his lawyers insist everything was totally consensual. But the feds? They're painting a much darker picture involving commercial workers and cross-state activities.
There are going to be a lot of other women as well, and men. And I think the volume is going to be very difficult for him to overcome.
And let's talk about Cassie, Sweeties, victim one in the court papers. Even though she settled her multi-million-dollar lawsuit against him in 2023, her name's back in the spotlight. Diddy's team claims she voluntarily kept these tapes and handed them over to law enforcement, trying to paint her as willing rather than victimized.
The main star witness for the prosecution is Cassie, his ex-girlfriend, who he beat horribly at the Century Plaza Hotel.
But hold on to your seats because the prosecutors are saying these tapes show way more than just consensual activities. They're talking about underage individuals and secret recordings, allegations Diddy's team is desperately denying. There are no secret cameras, no orgies, no other celebrities involved, no underground tunnels, no minors, and not so much as a hint of coercion or violence according to the documents. There is certainly no evidence of Saint.
One of the things that's very clear is that they're going to argue that a lot of this was consensual. They're going to argue that the freak-offs were consensual, that the drug use was consensual.
Now, this Peacock documentary, Diddy, the Making of a Bad Boy, is spilling all the tea. Childhood friend Tim Dog Patterson reveals the most shocking details about Diddy's upbringing. Weekend parties with drugs, alcohol, and explicit acts. Patterson didn't hold back. On the weekend, Combs partied in the house, and we did that a lot. He was around all types of alcohol. He was around reefer smoke D addicts, around lesbians, around homos. He was around pimps, pushers. That was just who was in our house. People that attended the parties were from Harlem, from the streets. You'd walk into a room and you'd see couples, but naked. It was desensitizing, but it was just Saturday night.
Am I gonna get in trouble? I don't want to say I witnessed any of that crazy stuff, but we all have common sense. Little people that's not supposed to be there.
You're talking about underage people.
It's a shame.
Will these tapes save Diddy or destroy him? As the trial approaches, one thing's crystal clear. This case is going to be explosive. Our once mighty music mogul is now at the center of a storm that could shake Hollywood down to its foundations. But darlings, what's even more telling? The deafening silence from his A-list circle.
The silence is deafening, especially from longtime associates of Diddy.
Not a peep from J-Lo, Ashton Kutcher, Jay-Z, or Naomi Campbell. Even Leonardo DiCaprio, who practically lived at Diddy's infamous parties, and the Kardashians, total radio silence. And Justin Bieber, his own protege, completely MIA.
There are a lot of people in Hollywood who are probably worried about which Diddy parties they were at and what was going on.
Why, you ask?
If you're at that party and it turns out that that's when he set up one of these freak-off parties, or that it was going on in another room and you didn't know about it, there's a good chance that you're going to be called by the U.S. attorneys.
It's all about fear, darlings. Pure, paralyzing fear. Eric Schiffer, CEO of Reputation Management Consultants, spilled the real tea. Celebrities are silent because they're scared to death of their brands bleeding out with fans over ties to Diddy, Schiffer explained. And worse, they fear if they cross him, things could end in disaster. Doug Eldridge from Achilles PR suggests there's more beneath the surface. Those lavish parties? Honey, they weren't just about champagne and caviar. They were breeding grounds for scandal. And now everyone who ever stepped foot in those gatherings is desperately trying to distance themselves. The drama gets even more intense with Rodney Lil Rod Jones, who filed that massive $30 million lawsuit. He told Rolling Stone, "He told me himself, I'll smack my mama, anybody who can say that even jokingly is a monster. For someone whose brand is love records, he doesn't show love, he's nothing to be played with." And now, darlings, let's talk about what's really at stake here. Diddy's looking at charges that could keep him locked up forever. We're talking racketeering conspiracy. That's potential life imprisonment right there. Then there's that horrifying charge of trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion with a mandatory 15-year minimum. And don't forget the transportation charge, adding another possible 10 years. CNN legal analyst and former prosecutor Ellie Honig didn't sugarcoat it. This federal case is serious business. Way worse than state charges. And as if that wasn't enough, poor Diddy's drowning in civil suits too. Remember that shocking footage from 2016 showing him physically attacking Cassie in a hotel? It all just keeps piling up. The truth is, sweeties, our once mighty music mogul might be trading in his designer suits for prison uniforms permanently. His empire crumbling, his reputation in tatters. And that stage he used to command? Well, the only stage he might be seeing from now on will be inside those prison walls. Talk about a fall from grace, from hip-hop royalty to potential life behind bars. It's the kind of scandal that even Hollywood couldn't script. And darlings, with each new revelation, it just gets more and more shocking. Stay tuned, because this drama is far from over.